What's up, you guys? Welcome to Fightful. Alex is also being welcomed to Fightful. I said nothing to him before I went on the air.
No.
I'm Sean Ross Sapp. This is your AEW post show. My hair is a mess, but by God, we're here. Leave a thumbs up on this video. Subscribe, all that. You know all the plugs. FightfulSelect.com. We had some very nice AEW injury updates tonight, but we're here to talk about AEW Dynamite. We got Alex here. Alex, how you doing?
Listen, there were some things I did not agree with, the choices made at Wrestle Dream, and I was like, I'll give him Wednesday and Saturday to set the course in a way that I like. And so far, not great, but everybody else loves it. So I'm the guy who hates everything this week.
You hate everything this week.
I like a lot of it. A lot of it. There's far too many things that are continuing for no reason for me, and I'm not a big fan of the field of the women's tag tournament. There's a lot of stuff.
Well, let's go ahead and talk about it. Get your super chats in. Get your humper chats in. We would greatly appreciate if you guys did that. No Hangman Page live on the show today. Again, AEW has been now, in addition to no MJF, no Swerve, no Ospreay, you got no Hangman on the show, which, it was largely covered by the Opps, the Death Riders, and sort of what they are continuing to do next. But that was a bit surprising to me, but especially considering he doesn't appear to be indisposed or anything. He cut a promo afterwards, but no Hangman tonight. Did that surprise you?
A little. They're doing a double taping, so he's advertised for the Collision episode. So he's actually doing something probably right now in the ring.
Yes,
as they're taping
immediately.
So he was in the building. They just decided to use him for the Collision and not this. And I guess I get that. We got some stuff from Joe to further that storyline. But his thing in the I really wish that he had focused more on the fact that in his little promo in the trainer's room that he cut, that I beat you, Joe. I beat you. So what's your deal, dude? I beat you clean.
Yeah.
I hit 3 buckshots on you and pinned you in the middle of the ring. Seems like, to borrow a phrase from my favorite podcast, sour grapes. Feels like sour grapes, dude. You lost fair and square. Maybe just take your loss and go back to the trios division. But he didn't do any of that. And he says he's going to make Joe's life hell or whatever. And because of that little statement, I thought there was a chance he was going to cost Joe and the Opps the trios titles in the first match of the night. But he didn't.
Of which, when that match happened, I was like, man, this could absolutely be a big pay-per-view match. It could absolutely be that, as we lost Alex. It's one of those days. We already lost Alex. My God. Here we are. While Alex tries to regain a semblance of whatever existence it is that he has, we'll let you hear from our sponsors at Nord. If you're a wrestling fan and you're frustrated with all the services you need to watch all the different wrestling shows, Fightful has your solution with nordvpn.com/Fightful. Change your virtual location with just one click, and you'll be able to watch Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and PLEs on one Netflix account. You'll also be able to get a lot of pay-per-views at a much more affordable price than you do here in the United States. This is a must-have for wrestling fans. That way you don't have to have 7 different accounts to watch all of the shows that you want to watch. In addition to that, they have a great 30-day money-back guarantee and an incredible deal right now going on. But that's far from it. You can protect yourself on their VPN service, the fastest in the world. Shield your data from snoops and criminals. Protect yourselves on public Wi-Fi, and it's available on all your devices and operating systems. NordVPN.com/Fightful. Well, Alex isn't back, so I'm doing the one-person layout here. But we did kick off with Hurt Syndicate versus versus the Opps Trios title. I honestly thought they would wait a little bit to do this because this seemed like a pay-per-view match. But with Samoa Joe competing for the AEW Championship, I'm like, well, okay, I guess it does make sense to do it here. A little bit less time than I expected. It was like 12, 13 minutes, something like that. Hurt Syndicate ends up winning when Samoa Joe taps out MVP. And like, I don't have any inherent problems with the people who are competing for specific titles. But this, like, honestly, the last few weeks in AEW has just highlighted to me, especially between AEW and ROH, way too many championships and way too many people that have championships are challenging for championships. Like last month, it was Kyle Fletcher with the TNT title challenging for the world title. Then it's Samoa Joe with the trios title challenging for the world title. And now it's going to happen again. Mina Shirakawa challenged for every damn title. It felt like the ROH title, the TBS title, the AEW women's title, all while holding the ROH interim title. You've got Athena and Mercedes challenging in this tournament as well. And I'm just sitting there like, man, an awful lot of championships here. An awful lot. It's just the Mercedes now challenging for the world championship as well. And I'm like, can we consolidate some of these? Like when I look at them doing ROH women's pure title tournament, I'm like, that's like the last thing you need. Or just keep those ROH titles the hell away. Do something else. I don't know. That's the biggest piece of frustration I have. And that being said, I'm glad they're adding women's tag titles, and I'm glad the trios titles are being featured in a more prominent sense. The Opps end up getting the win here. Hurt Syndicate end up getting screwed out of this by the Demand. I mean, I would be a little bit more frustrated specifically that I had lost this trios title opportunity, but they immediately went after the Demand, which I also understand as well. So that's going to continue. It felt like that could wrap up at this point. Much to Alex's point, I was ready to move on from Hurt Syndicate and the Demand. I was ready for that to kind of just do something else. I honestly thought that the Hurt Syndicate might end up winning the trios title. Much like Alex, I thought that there was a really, really good chance that we ended up seeing Hangman Page screw the Opps out of the trios title, but that didn't end up happening. We got Joshua D saying, Humper Chat Jones, this MF spitting. We appreciate you, Josh. Vincent says, with the C2 starting in a month or two, does Eddie Kingston get an auto entry since he won the first one and wasn't able to compete in the second one? You would think that he would be involved in that. I do wonder if the tag team situation will take the priority of it. It would make sense to give him an auto entry. If you're asking me if he does, like as far as like factually, I don't know. I think he should. But I also think it should not be for the Continental Championship. I think it should be for a shot, or you know what I mean, the International Championship. It should be for a shot at that because of what they did to combine the Unified Championship there, as I called it the wrong name again earlier. I think it should be that because they did an awful lot to really, really establish that as a combination of those two titles. So it would make sense for him to do it, but also I do wonder if he's going to focus more on the tag element of things. So, yeah. After the match, Samoa Joe explains himself and is basically like, because I can. And he said something like, when you hang out with a guy like Powerhouse Hobbs, it sure is a good thing you have all these big, fat San Antonio women to keep him occupied. And Hobbs like mimics a gorilla press. I mean, it was funny. It was entertaining. I got a laugh out of it. That was quite something. They buried the Spurs. I didn't quite get that. Like, listen, you will not find many people that hate on San Antonio more than I. I'm like, I get it. Spurs haven't had like the greatest time of late, but I'm like, damn, man, they've got like 5 titles in like the last 26 years. Yeah, I would say that's pretty successful. I would give anything for one of my sports teams. I think he said that the Cowboys suck. They do. I think he really encompassed all of the sports teams, but I'm like, man, even then, like the Astros are good. Cowboys do. I mean, listen, they're inconsistent. That's true. The documentary was okay. But apparently, in kayfabe, Hobbs loves the big girls. Go figure. We have the AEW Women's Tag Team Title Bracket. Jordan says only 8 teams. There's so many other women you can add that aren't doing anything. Rosa, Nyla, Taya, Deanna, Deeb. Like, are they hurt or are they just, or is it the lack of wanting to use them? Deanna is not hurt. Nyla is not hurt. I don't know about Thunder Rosa, but Thunder Rosa and Nyla are very clearly setting up something there. You could do Deanna and Taya. I don't know why they're not doing more teams. I mean, maybe it was an opportunity. And I know that maybe if you do 16 teams, listen, you got to have 15 of them lose, right? You got to do that. And the brackets, just so you all know, is Ty J versus Bane and Ford. It's Tony and Mina against Windsor and Riho. I really thought we were going to see Hayter and Windsor team up, but it's Aminata and Hayter as they won their 4-way tag team match, taking on the Sisters of Sin. They selected this match. Willow and Harley against Mercedes and Athena. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but Aminata and Hayter winning their match, which was fine. It was okay. An awful lot of stuff that awful lot of ingredients, I should say. A whole lot of ingredients, and it's an awful lot to kind of work through and keep straight. It was just fine. It wasn't anything to kind of write home about or anything like that, but it was okay. That being said, the psychology of who they pick, which I did like that they added stakes to this match, and the stakes were the winner gets to pick who they face in this bracket. Okay, that one makes sense. I like that. And I also liked commentary going back and forth as to what it was necessarily that would lead to such a thing. Like what would lead to that decision, you know what I mean? And one of those was, well, maybe you get the easiest match out of the way, or maybe you get the most difficult one out of the way. Cool. I like that. We didn't necessarily hear a lot of insight as to why it was that they got picked outside of Jamie Hayter's like, listen, you've been a pain in our ass, so here we go. That's what we're going to do. Luis points out the headbutt and lariat combo from Aminata and Hayter. I really like that. Definitely like that. And this would not be the last that we have seen, or we would see, of Harley tonight. Meet Normus says, sup partners, let's crank. I think with the matching gear and popularity, Willow and Harley are winning the tourney. CEO and Athena is a swerve. My thing is, if Mercedes and Athena can be in this tournament, why can't Chris be in this tournament? And why isn't Chris teaming with her buddy Harley? And why is Harley doing Chris's bidding, if that's the case? Or maybe that's a preference. Maybe Chris can come along and say, I would have liked to have been in that tournament too, but I already know Willow's pissed off at me, so I decided to just let that one lie as is. I am excited for these tag titles. I hope they get some time. And I hope that they get the hell away from people who have titles, like competing for this nonstop. There's so much to do on these two shows that redoing the same stuff, which is what you're seeing with the Opps and the Demand, Samoa Joe and Hangman, albeit with a different thing. You're seeing it with not Harley. You're seeing it with Mark Briscoe and Kyle Fletcher. And definitely, I want to see them shore up some of the action that we saw in that tag match. It's just there's an awful lot of ingredients, so I gave it a little bit of forgiveness there. Now we had the Mercedes 12 belt celebration. Y'all, the weird stuff that I have seen over the last week, people trying to rationalize and make excuses and say, oh, well, Ultimo Dragon, those are way more legit than what Mercedes won. I mean more. You can defend those. He actually went and won it in a tournament. And I'm like, this is not real. It is fake. It is fake pro wrestling. And one day, Ultimo Dragon is going to do an interview. And he's going to put over Mercedes. And people are going to be like, oh my God. Or Ultimo Dragon's going to do an entrance with Mercedes, holding a bunch of her belts and escorting her out to the ring. And people will find something wrong with that too. It's so weird. And J-Boss brings it up. The promoters have tried to set people straight on this. People say, yeah, well, she's not a draw. Every promotion that she's worked with has said that. Said that it's the mental gymnastics. And listen, I understand that when a woman comes through and wins with this regularity and gets all these championships and you don't know the end game, I don't know the end game, it's easy to say, oh, well, she's calling her own shots or anything. Doesn't deserve it, yada, yada, yada. These companies want her to have their championships. They want her to work for their companies. Now, from a personal perspective, I sure do hope that she goes and drops each of those titles. I really, really, really hope that she does that. But the visual is very cool. She's got a bunch of dudes bringing the titles out there and all that. And then the Mercedes Muppet. Josh D goes, it's wrestling, bro. I mean, listen, I hate to say it, but Vince Russo back in the day used to say, they think that wrestling is real. And again, I never experienced it with our audience and still haven't. I don't see any of our audience saying that at all. But I see a lot of people on Facebook, of which I am on a lot now, debunking news. I see it a lot on Facebook, man. Like if I post her with those titles or something, they go, yeah, but Ultimo Dragon actually, but you did not watch Ultimo Dragon. Stop pretending like you gave a shit about Ultimo Dragon before Mercedes won these titles. You did not care about Ultimo Dragon. And if you were around in the 90s, you would have been burying Ultimo Dragon too because of where he was and where he wasn't. It is very funny to watch people that bury anything. They'll bury the guys that are under 200 pounds. Well, I hate to tell you, but Ultimo Dragon was not a large man. They bury everything that isn't in WWE or TNA or whatever company, AEW, whatever company it is that they like. Well, he was not in WWE. To see those people bury a bunch of people for being short, he was 5'7". They said he was 5'8". That man was not 5'8". But the Muppet was out there. Minnie Monet. Anthony Velasquez says, Minnie Monet is gold. AEW has to do a Harley Cameron and Mercedes Monet tag team down the road, right? I would say eventually they will end up teaming. I am going to pull up some visuals as well because this was one of Mercedes' best segments that she's had. The Muppet is out there dancing. It gets Renee to dance as well. It was a good time. And then Mercedes is just really upset about this. She is not having it. She does not like it. She is livid by this Muppet, this puppet stealing her vibe. And Orion Ben says, poor Renee getting yelled at for just vibing. CEO. Mercedes made her get out of the ring. And then she is burying Harley. And then she shoves the puppet in the cake. This shot of the cake and the puppet screaming. So, like, to sell this, Harley underneath had to mimic what the puppet was doing, which is screaming as a result. We have been rejoined by Alex. Then the follow-up to that was Mercedes pulls out Harley Cameron. And actually, Chris Statlander is under there and cakes Mercedes. Alex, you've been telling me, as you definitely have the wrong mic hooked up, I can tell right now. As you've been telling me that you hated so many things on this show, you are joined by an honest to God puppet, Alexi. What did you think of this segment, Alexi? Things are going swimmingly. Swimmingly.
Will not stand for this internet so bad.
I will not stand for your.
I
will not stand for your 56 kbps internet connection that you have, Alex. Look at him. He's trying. He's blurry. Got to fix it. We got to get that working. It ain't going smooth. It's cutting out. Internet ruined a bit. He's on that People PC internet. Somebody tell him AOL doesn't exist anymore. We got you. It's blurry. Now it's a little bit.
Is it better now?
Put the puppet on the line. Where we came in for the puppet. This is your big moment, Alexi.
I will not stand for this puppet abuse. It's terrible puppet abuse on AEW.
Why are you muzzling the puppet? Quit pushing the glasses off the puppet. He's got to see too. You want to talk about puppet abuse? Look in the mirror. What are you shoving up his ass? Stop it.
The hand up my ass is the only way I'm able to communicate. Okay?
Listen, I feel judged. He's looking at me over the top of his bifocals here.
All I'm saying is that there's going to be a boycott of AEW among all puppet kind.
Alexi seems
puppets.
Alexi seems like the type of puppet that would not be happy that Bad Bunny is doing the halftime show.
What are you saying, Sean? Huh? What are you accusing me of? I will not stand for these scurrilous allegations.
Is he gonna tune into like the alternate halftime show where Kid Rock is like puppeteering a Jeff Dunham thing?
You disappoint me, Sean. To think that would be my views on racial equality just because I happen to be a white puppet from Bulgaria? Do you think somehow that this puppet is pro-ice? No, this puppet is not pro-ice. This puppet only drinks lukewarm soda. That is how anti-ice this puppet is.
Oh my God. You can catch Alexi on Newsmax later this week.
false allegations, and I will not stand for these assaults on my character.
Oh my God. Did Alexi get his booster shot?
Double vexed. Boosted.
Alex, I thought that this segment was beautiful. I thought the visual of Mercedes, the Muppet, sorry, Alexi, was great. I thought that the fact that Harley was still puppeteering, ventriloquizing while the cake was on was also very good. Great stuff. And the fact that Mercedes was backstage with cake for like 20 minutes, really committed to the bit.
You know, it's very hard to get cake out of puppet skin and hair. You can't just throw us in the washing machine. That's cruel and unusual punishment.
What does Alexi think of the 40 billion we're giving to Argentina?
You're baiting me now, Sapp. You are baiting me.
I just want to know what he.
I just want to know on your show and asking me these ridiculous questions. Of course,
just want to know.
40 billion going to Argentina would be better spent on literally anything else.
I just want to know if he wants to support American farmers and like, listen, we got a lot of soybeans being grown in Kentucky and they're not being sold. So I want to know how he feels about it.
Yeah, let's support the Argentinian farmers and help them. Oh, let's also import Argentinian beef. Let's do that. That'll definitely help the American farmers. Listen, I'm up on my current events, Sapp.
Alex, I don't know if you want to handle this or Alexi does, but I know that, listen, you have added to your family since Fightful started, and now you've had to add to your family again.
Yes.
Did you knock down a wing of your house to create a ballroom for Alexi when he moved here?
Is that the real question? Are you asking me a real question now?
Yeah.
No, there was no wing of the house knocked down for a ballroom. But I know I definitely wouldn't have to knock down a wing for a balls room of your balls because they're very small. I don't know how this insult comedy works here, Sapp.
That's unnecessary.
But this whole line of questioning is unnecessary. Can we please talk about the wrestling or about puppetry?
Just chill out, take some Tylenol, you'll be all right. Valab says, Sean getting felt up by Alexi. And then C. Delgado says, looks what you've done, Sean. Give Alexi your own show. Give him his own show? The fuck? He's got like 3. Give him his own show. So backstage, or outside actually, Mercedes is livid. And she's approached by Athena, who says, yeah, this is all very funny, but I want to win the tag team titles, and I think that we should win them together. And Mercedes is like, you know what? That seems like an easy way to get another championship. I'll do that. And the best part of this, I thought, was Athena being like, great, now you got to go through minion training as well. How do you feel about them teaming up, Alex?
They're one of many teams that are teaming up for this tournament, and I feel like we already have a lot of faction mates and duos, and there are a few of those in the tournament as well. But it feels like to me the tournament is set up for a Mercedes and Athena versus Mina and Tony finals, and I feel like that's I hope that's not where we end up, but I really suspect that is where we end up. And it just feels like, let's put these single stars together and give them tag belts. Feels like something that I didn't think AEW would do.
Feels like you think that these two women might end up with a little bit too much power. would Alexi agree? Since I understand he went to the No, did he was he an anti-protester at the No Kings rally this past weekend?
You were asking me if I went to the No Kings rally?
I'm asking you if you were an anti-protester. Were you
No,
there doing that?
No. I was actually the guy who stole the glasses off of that Giants fan, and then he ran and landed on his face. That was me.
Well, he did get tripped. I did see that video, but did you trip him?
No, I stole the glasses off his face, and then he ran after me, and then some guy tripped him.
Oh, okay, fair. Marcus says, why doesn't TK use Daily's place for ROH tapings? That would help wrestlers do both ROH and AEW shows. It was considered at one point years and years ago. And it just never ended up happening. In fact, when I heard about it, and then I was moving on like reporting it, and then I was told, nah, I don't think they're doing that. So, also, I mean, not everybody lives in Jacksonville. You have to be flying them in specifically for that. I liked the idea that the thing that Fightful Select reported last week about Asheville, North Carolina. The Carolinas in general, I think, would be a good home property for ROH. But Dax, Cash, Copeland, Beth sort of running things there, I think would be kind of cool. Young Bucks are broke as hell. They demand a money match from TK, and TK comes out and is like, oh, well, hey, guys, I'll give you a money match. $400,000. But you got to face Jet Speed and Jurassic Express. And they're like, wait, 4-on-2? And he goes, no, you can team with these guys. And it's FTR. And we get a really good reaction to that. But it is clear Bucks, Jurassic Express continuing, FTR, Jet Speed continuing, getting a little mix there. Of all the things that are continuing, this is one of them that I dislike the least, Alex. But how do you feel?
I think that the Bucks and Jurassic Express was never going to end after one match.
Sure.
That makes sense. It's the fact that almost all of the things are continuing, where I feel like we didn't need to do that. That it feels like it just adds to more things continuing. I'm all for this 8-man tag. Seems like it will be very very fun. It is in and of itself a reason to watch a taped Collision, to watch that match.
Yeah. Darby is in the ring. I am starting to believe, and I just want to make it clear, I have not personally confirmed this or anything. I'm starting to believe he climbed Mount Everest, Alex.
Right. No, it's a very little reported story in the media.
Uh-huh.
Honestly, I wish the media would spend more time on this.
I wish AEW would spend more. I wish Darby would spend more time on it.
Right. No, I mean it's they're so secretive about it, is what I mean. That maybe they could do some actual journalism and dig into this whole Everest rumor. Right.
I've also learned that he is apparently willing to die for AEW.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, listen. If I climbed the fucking aggro crag on Nickelodeon Guts, you couldn't get me to shut up about it. But I'm just like,
true.
We know.
True.
We know.
We do know. This also was a very brief promo that mostly focused on his time on Everest and his willingness to die. As people say, that could have been an email. This could have been like a message on Slack. This was a very, very brief promo and did not do a lot to move him, forward.
Yeah, he just said he wasn't going to give up on Death Riders. He went to Everest, not journalism, but he could be like Seahawk, who is a journalist who did Everest Institute commercials.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I should probably switch our little gimmick here. There we go. You're not the managing editor. I am. No, I'm not even the man. I haven't even been the managing editor for 3 years.
Wow.
Kyle O'Reilly defeated Jon Moxley, and I actually really loved this finish because they set this up by showing Jon Moxley going over his loss and admitting that he lost and saying that self-destruction will eventually be Darby's unraveling. But I really liked Bryan Danielson kind of setting the stage throughout this match, saying, he's not focused, guys. I know this guy. I've seen this guy. Usually he would put his weight across the body on this hold. I've seen him do it 1,000 times. He always does. Something is not right with Jon Moxley. And Jon Moxley knew that something was not right with Jon Moxley because he was, again, trapped in a submission hold and was about to tap out. Keep in mind, a couple days ago, there were a whole bunch of people saying, oh my God, there was strangulation in aquariums and all this stuff, but he tapped out to a sharpshooter. That's the story, is that he is a coward when left alone. And now that is in his own head because not only does he know it, everybody else knows it now. The whole world knows it. The whole world saw it on pay-per-view. So he's stuck in an ankle lock, and instead of tapping out, he just clocks the ref in the mouth. Anything to keep from tapping out, because at least then he can maybe try to convince himself that he wasn't going to tap out. How do you feel about this finish?
It serves the story.
Yeah,
I'm just not a big fan of the story. I get that you are right, but the story is that he's a coward when left alone, and so when put into a basic Scorpion deathlock, he verbally quit after absolutely physically torturing a much smaller man for 20 minutes. He got put into a wrestling hold and said, "Mommy." I understand that's the story. I just hate that story because I don't want that to be Jon Moxley. I don't think that's who Jon Moxley has shown himself to be throughout his entire career. And I don't like that that's the direction they're going. It is the direction they're going, though. And so this finish helps that storyline along. And him, yes, I did lose. But sometimes you make a promise and you can't keep it. That's his little thing. And if I know who I am when I look in the mirror. Yeah, you're a dude who lost an I Quit match to a Scorpion deathlock. Of all the things you could have lost to, losing to that is maybe one of the most embarrassing ones. So I guess that's the story they're going with Jon Moxley. It's just not what I would have wanted them to do coming out of this match. Obviously, there was no chance Darby was going to lose, but I thought they'd be more inventive with the way that Jon Moxley lost.
Anthony says, interesting direction for Mox, a man who's not confident in himself anymore. Does this lead to the Death Riders eventually turning on him? I would find that creatively reinvigorating, Alex. I think it's the right way to go.
Yeah.
But, and Orion Ben says, Marina really did not look happy with Mox. Oh, Marina was not happy with Mox. Yeah. Tom LaValle says, DQs normally suck. The DQ here was perfect. And Joshua D brings up a very interesting point. Darby as the leader of the Death Riders. Book it. I don't see that happening, but I do see them turning on Jon Moxley eventually.
Right. No, I think that basically a vote of no confidence in the Prime Minister of the Death Riders feels very, very likely with everybody turning on him and then sending him away. Finally, Jon Moxley gets that vacation. You know what I mean? That would be great. Like honestly, like a good 2 to 3 months off of television, coming back to like set fire to the Death Riders, the group that he founded, would be interesting. Maybe by that time, Eddie Kingston will have toughened up Hook enough that if Eddie Kingston joins forces with babyface returning Jon Moxley, Hook can be a part of that and not feel out of place. I think that there's certainly something to be done with that at that point, for sure.
Then we led right into the Death Riders taking on Briscoe, Cassidy, and Roddy. Alistair Gammon says, great Dynamite as always. Thanks for keeping me up at 3 a.m. whilst only on my second ever night shift. Do you see Conglomeration versus Death Riders being the men's blood and guts match? And who wins? I still think it should be Young Bucks, Kenny, Jurassic Express against the Don Callis family. Alex, where are you standing here?
Yeah, the idea of Young Bucks turning face out of this in the next 3 weeks is interesting.
Yes.
That would be quick. That'd be a quick turnaround. Unless it was one of those things of, listen, we need 2 more guys to face the Callis family. Kenny says, I know 2 guys, but I gotta scrape together a GoFundMe because they'll only do it for money, and he pays them to join their team so that they will get money out of this, or they make blood and guts a money match. I don't know. Like that would be consistent with their characters, but then they end up not doing it for the money. They end up doing it to like be good guys. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a possibility. As far as the Conglomeration versus the Death Riders, I guess if that's like the last ride of the Death Riders, like they lose that, and that's where they turn on Moxley because Moxley gives up in that match, and that's the reason why they turn on him. Like, I guess so, but like the Conglomeration is a fine little faction for people other than me. So I would rather not that be the blood and guts match. But hey, if that's the storyline they go with, then I think as long as it ends up being that catalyst for Moxley gets turned on, I think that it works.
I agree with that as well. But I think Don Callis family against the baby faces I mentioned makes sense. And I like the money match element of it as well. I think that's honestly
I mean, I want to be clear. I hope that the blood and guts night is only the women, because the past several years it's been only the men. The women should get it by themselves this time. That is my position. If they insist on doing a men's match as well, I think that however they do it is however they're going to do it. But I appreciate it if it was only the women.
I'm always more of a fan of the feud dictating the match as opposed to the way it's been in pro wrestling the last decade, where although I will say I am very glad WWE moved Money in the Bank back to September, because in the first 6 months of the year, you've got Rumble, Chamber, Mania, which is its own thing, King of the Ring now, and Money in the Bank. And then you get to August, September, October, November, December, and War Games means it's a forced thing anyway. Right. SummerSlam is like WrestleMania B at this stage.
Sure.
I think it's good to have something like that there. Inflatable Carnival says Mercedes is only interesting when she's paired with Harley. Well, I would argue that she's pretty interesting when she is in the ring, competing and having matches. Of note, Alex, I did a little research.
Yeah.
Athena and Mercedes on August 20th defeated Alex Windsor and Tony Storm as a team. But that wasn't it. How about this? They are a 4-0 all-time tag team. Because way, way, way back in WWE days, let's see who it was. Ember Moon and Sasha Banks on August 3rd, 4th, and 5th defeated the Riot Squad. A clean sweep.
Perfect.
I will say this. They also did matches where Ember Moon would team with like Bayley, Sasha, Natalya. They won like 20 matches in a row.
Wow.
So I wouldn't mind that being brought up. Like, people don't know this, but we've got an incredible amount of success because it was almost never on TV. They did some of them on TV, like against Riot Squad, against like Alicia, Dana, Mickey, stuff like that. But there's some history there.
Yeah.
Well, if you think that history informs your decisions, go to MyBookie AG. $50 bonus when you deposit $100, or a $100 bonus when you deposit $200. Listen, your boy is going to put some money down on the Bengals against the Jets. I'm liking the way that Joe Flacco looks. I am wacko for Flacco, and my bookie AG is going to allow me to put some prop bets up right now. Who the Bengals going to face? Is it going to be Justin Fields? Is it going to be Tyrod Taylor? Or are they going to bring White Mike off a practice squad to mess things up for me? I don't know. But my bookie AG has all the odds you need. Bet on anything, anytime, anywhere. Blue Jays in the World Series. I'm so excited. Boy, put some money down on the Toronto Raptors tonight, and I'll let you know how that went. Real good. The Toronto Raptors looked great tonight. They can't shoot a three to save their life, but you get it within 5 feet of the basket, the Raptors are going to dominate every game. That won me a little bit of money this week. You can also bet on pro wrestling over there. I'm pushing them to do some AEW odds, but right now they have odds on who will be Brock Lesnar's opponent at WrestleMania. Unfortunately, nobody isn't the answer, but Gunther is in the lead. Now, we only want you to bet what you can, and please bet responsibly, but head over to my bookie, AG. We love them there. We love them. They also have a great support system. Please check that out. Chris Statlander and Harley Cameron are eating the icing off of the Muppet backstage. Clever. Kyle Fletcher interrupted by Mark Briscoe immediately after Kyle Fletcher said, yeah, it's 3-2, but it's over. And Mark Briscoe comes out and he's the line, I've been icing my balls for a week, did pop me. And I do love Mark Briscoe. And they did have a really great match. But I don't have a need to see this again. Move on.
Yeah, this is showing to me alarm bells are ringing for this is where MJF comes back. Like Don Callis says no to Mark Briscoe. But eventually he will goad Kyle Fletcher into saying yes. But this is your last chance. I'm never wrestling you for this title ever again. And because it's his last chance, this is where MJF can come back, ruin it for Mark Briscoe, and not cause a DQ, but literally just do the thing that he does where he ends up coming in, costing him the match. He'll gloat about it, and that's how we'll get more Briscoe. Because the last thing he said was, before I will ever use this on Hangman, I have to take out Briscoe. That was where he left it. So he's going to do it sooner or later. This seems like the perfect place to do it.
Yes. I hope. And I mean, I thought this show was fine. I enjoyed it more than I liked last week's. But as I said last week, the absence of MJF, Ospreay, and Omega on a weekly basis is not there. Swerve is out. Listen, boys at FightfulSelect.com had news on that. They are hoping for a winter return. I know a lot of people thought that he was going to be out for a year or something. His meniscus was very bad. In fact, he had been wrestling on almost no meniscus for 5-6 years. Yeah. And he fought through it because he knew his career was taking off, but he finally got it fixed. But they're hopeful for winter. More details on FightfulSelect.com. The best $5.99 a month for subscribers. Mina is backstage. She is teaming with Tony Storm. Fightful Select confirmed that this weekend. But Tekla interrupts. And this is after Mina had said, I actually haven't heard from Tony at all since then.
Yeah.
But Tekla interrupts and they make a match for Collision. And I like that. This is exactly the kind of matchup that should probably be on Collision. Yeah. And one that at least if they have done it, I don't know that they've done it a million times. It's not the type of match you'd put on a pay-per-view. Right. Seems like a great one to put on Collision.
Yeah, I agree with that. It is a little alarming in the kayfabe making of a bracket. Like, Mina, you and Tony. And Mina goes, I haven't talked to Tony since Wrestle Dream. That's fine. I'm sure she'll show up. Also, who was the team that was in the tournament as of the beginning of the show that got bumped for Athena and Mercedes? because they weren't like when Athena walks up to Mercedes and says, "Hey, should we be in a tag team together?" And they go, "Yeah." And so somebody had to have been in that bracket before they got bumped for Athena and Mercedes, right?
You know what I'd like to think? That it was Athena and Billy.
Now that would be a great story to add to this whole thing.
Great story.
That would be great. Honestly, that is what I hope comes out of this. That would be excellent.
Yes, it needs to be Athena, and because Billy is going off on Twitter right now. Billy says, I mean, like, Billy is posting GIFs, retweeting stuff saying, "Are you seeing this bullshit? The Woody, after all we've been through." Wow. Like, she's going off on Twitter. What are you doing? Is what she's saying. Wow. It's Billy. Billy is doing a very coordinated crash out. Tony, I want a meeting. She's saying deceptions. I am going to work and dropping everyone on their heads. It was Billy. It was very clearly Billy, and
that's awesome.
I like that. I like her flipping out.
Well, that's this. Like, we have to heat up that, because at this point, if Billy Starks is the only person who should beat Athena for that women's ROH title
after twice,
like you now you have to reheat that, because every time she faced her and lost, they just went back to her being her minion again. Like, now we have to like do a thing where like there is an absolute reason present right now for her to face Athena and finally beat her. Like, that's got to be the next step. We just get that done as soon as possible.
AEW Unified Championship match, Okada versus Bandido. This might shock you guys, but the tag team champion is competing for the Unified Championship, and the tag team champion is also the ROH champion. Mm-hmm. And if I'm Okada, I say, well, let's further unify some champion here.
Right.
Why don't you put that ROH bad boy on the line? Which, honestly, way down the line, I wouldn't mind them doing to add further credibility to that title.
My thing is that this is my problem with Stat just accepting Mercedes' challenge. Like, you're challenging me for my title, but you're not willing to put up any of yours? Don't even put up the TBS. How about the one from Poland? Just something. You got to put something on the line, Mercedes. Otherwise, it's not fair to me.
It'd be great. She'd be like, I landed in Poland. Great. Give me Poland. I'll take that.
I mean, come on, something.
I love the finish of this match which also, by the way, I don't know why I constantly forget how strong Bandido is, but he is. Like, there's very strong. He's very strong. He hit the Rainmaker and then the X knee, but it doesn't finish Okada. Like, I love that he used the Rainmaker as well. That was really good. Joshua D says, this MF spitting Okada. I'll keep saying it, Sean. This is fun stuff. Now let's get some Humper chats in. Yeah, please do, guys. We're heading down the home stretch. So, Alex, again, like the match. Here's my idea for the unified champion. It should be sort of like what Mercedes is doing, except it should just kind of steal the soul of a lot of championships around the world. You get wind that a championship is going to go away.
So everything gets unified into it. There you go.
It becomes the NWA falling on tough times, is it, one day?
Yeah.
10 pounds of gold unified into that championship. Because it will never be the AEW World Championship, but it can truly unify as many things. Bring Jake Hager back. Have him bring the Lucha Underground Championship with him. Unify.
Good.
Give it everything. I want him to just collect all the stones. All the infinite. Maybe add some damn stones to the title belt. I don't give a shit. Something.
Yeah, I mean,
something. Alex, any thoughts as we conclude this evening's show?
I want to say that I loved the Okada backing far enough away from the ropes that Bandido's legs couldn't touch them. It was like an optical illusion. Like, he was just going to do the thing that he always does. But whoops, my feet don't bounce against the ropes. I can't do the 21 plex now. That that takes some heel thinking. I like that a lot. That was really good. Yeah, I'm willing to see now. Like obviously afterwards, everyone comes out, the entire Don Callis family to celebrate with Okada, but Takeshita comes out by himself later and stares daggers at Okada, and Fletcher's trying to calm him down. Cal's trying to calm him down, and Okada's just smiling at him. I gave you a Rainmaker during our tag team title match. Ha 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 ha.
Yeah.
Really, really good stuff here. Like that, like as much as this match was great and Bandido is great, I don't think that Okada is losing that title to anybody but Takeshita for the next, if somehow he beats Takeshita, he's not losing that title for a while afterwards. I think Takeshita's definitely beating him for it. And nobody else is coming within that thing for me.
Oh, guys, I want to thank you all so much for joining us. I had an interview with Natalia, Natty, that drops this week. It was a great time. She talks about The Rock, about Bret Hart, both of which who wrote ahead of her book, which I read this past week, and it was phenomenal. I mean, you will read everything from Macho Man Randy Savage crashing a dirt bike into a stop sign outside of her house to modern day stuff as well. Like, there are things that she really puts in perspective there about how everybody at school thought they were rich. And she's like, guys, you all don't remember, like, after my dad got fired, he never lasted a year at any place. He went to New Japan, WWE 2 or 3 more times, WCW twice. Didn't last a year anywhere. So she talked about them struggling, talked about how like Davey Boy helped her get a job, an actual day job. So many great stories there. It's fantastic. Check that one out. We also, Josh D says, Okada's having a great second half of 2025. Now I'm MF spit. He seemed motivated.
Yeah.
He seemed very motivated.
I think he's really excited for what this is between him and Takeshita. I think he's very excited for the story they've got cooking, for that match, for the aftermath. I think he's really into it now.
Contact Kate as we are taking sponsors for the Fightful Awards. Let me tell you what that gets you. It's $100 a pop, and you might say, my God, that's a lot. But here's what it gets. It gets you ad reads on the show. You can clip those ad reads, use them wherever the hell you want. I don't give a damn. It'll be in the replies on Twitter. It'll be in the description, and we can do an on-screen graphic as well. And also, anytime you send a super chat throughout the year, I'm happy to continue to shout out whatever it is that you're sponsoring. You can do it for a charitable cause, doesn't matter. But contact Kate or Fightful. Help us chip away at those. TJ Ridgway says, late to the party, but really hope this Death Rider thing leads to a crazy Daniel Garcia snapping and turning them into the Red Death Riders. That's kind of a cool name idea, but who do you think would lead the Death Riders?
I did have a weird thought on the Wrestle Dream post show of if they seemed kind of like lost and they couldn't figure out who was going to be the leader. The guy who I think would be great at leading a faction that size, especially if his current stablemates joined him in joining that thing for another mega heel faction, Samoa Joe leading a combination of the Opps and the Death Riders. The problem I have with that is that needs to be your Don Callis family of your promotion, and they already have a Don Callis family of their promotion. The problem I have with it is that with the Opps turning the way they did, with the Death Riders continuing to ride deathly, and the Don Callis family multiplying all the time, there is just so much heelishness in AEW right now, and I don't think the conglomeration can quite stand up to that. So they need to turn some people babyface, make some people. This probably is why Moxley won't end up going away after he's jumped out of the Death Riders, because they need other baby faces at the top of the card.
Marcus, says, what would you guys rename the Unified Championship to sound more like close to the level of the World Championship? Well, I think if they call it the Unified World Championship, it is a little too close to the AEW World Championship. You know what I mean? Yeah. I actually think the Unified Championship works here. That's how I feel, at least.
I think it does too. I think it'll be a thing that in a few years there'll be people who don't remember what the names of the titles that were unified to make it mean.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I don't
Yes.
know. I don't know exactly what I think it's fine. There's got to be something better than it, but I don't think you can use like the AEW title as opposed to the AEW World title. It doesn't quite work. So there's got to be other things you can do.
Guys, I want to thank you all so much. I also have an interview with Guy Evans of Beyond Nitro. He wrote the original Nitro book, one of the best wrestling books you'll ever read. That is a fantastic, in-depth, 40-plus minute conversations. Trying to do some more of those. So, guys, if you have anybody that you all want me to speak to at length, specifically someone who like has some national TV exposure, let me know. I'll reach out to them and try to interview them. Until next time, my friends,